Okay.
This is the Green Beret Life. Welcome to the SCIF. Good to see you guys back. We're here on YouTube, Rumble, and Odysee. We've got a good show tonight. We're still going to try to stick within this hour. We've gotten close. I don't know. Have we ever gotten right at an hour yet, Stu?
I think the closest we've gotten is maybe about 10 minutes over.
Yeah. So I mean,
there's so much stuff going on. It's hard.
I'm giving an E for effort. Put it that way. Okay.
Fair enough.
We are the Green Beret Life. We're a 501c3. We do pistol, rifle, shotgun, and we try to get free training to veterans and veterans' families and first responders families. So we do training for private individuals. We do training for groups. We do all sorts of stuff. Go check out our website, TheGreenBeretLife.com. If you have an idea for training, please reach out to us. You can get a hold of us at TheGreenBeretLife@gmail.com. If you want to ask us a question about being in the military, I was in the Army, Stu was in the Air Force. Please reach out and ask questions. We'll get back to you. Sometimes it takes a little time, but we appreciate you guys taking the time to come and join us tonight. Stu, what do we got on the docket? We're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be on YouTube for a little while. Then we're going to switch over to Odysee and Rumble exclusive at that stage, just so we can speak freely. Censorship is really ratcheting down. It's going to get worse. We've already been hit by it. You guys know that whole story. So what's on the docket, Stu?
Well, you and I were talking about this before the show. There's so much stuff going on. I don't even know where to start, and I feel like I'm cutting out half of, what's even come up in the past 2 days.
You can't cover everything, Steve. You can't cover everything.
I know. It all needs to be covered. That's the dilemma.
I hear you.
We've got 20 states have joined in with Texas suing Biden for the flights of illegal immigrants that were coming in. I think, what was it, over 300,000 that they flew in?
Yeah, it was like 360,000, somewhere around there. And it turns out that they primarily flew into two states in particular, Florida and Texas. Imagine that. Unbeknownst to the states, because the states weren't supposed to find out. Some very clever people were able to use logic and reasoning and back channel some of this and figure out exactly where those flights were going. So that's the deal we're going to talk about. One of the stories that you had sent me, apparently, and again, I'm so disgusted by the Republican leadership, and I use the term loosely, that we have, because Biden, they've got a $95 billion foreign aid package that they're tossing to Biden like a freaking softball. And Biden strongly supports it. Yeah, why not? Spend other people's money. It's easy. Yeah, when we're broke.
Exactly. The Democrats have voted to shut down the Senate trial for the Mayorkas impeachment. Go figure. We've got a story we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks with the Help America Vote Act and the Help America Voter Verification, which all runs through the Social Security office. We've got a follow-up with the Associated Press telling us, no, those numbers don't mean what they say they mean. Your lying eyes, don't believe anybody. We'll talk about that and kind of go through the way that they're phrasing some of the things and their fact check faults, and how, yes, it's false by their fact check, but they're adding in context that was never there in order to claim it false. It's interesting wordplay that we're going to look at. And then Matt has a story that's it's disgusting out of Wyoming. I mean, I grew up hunting. My dad hunted, taught me, all of this. This guy here needs to be put under the jail. It's a disgusting event
it's going to piss you off, and it's going to piss you off that people stood by and allowed this to go down.
Yeah, Matt sent me the article, and I didn't even want to. He's like, "Man, did you see the article?" I said, "Yeah, I saw the headline. I didn't even want to look at it." He's like, "No, look at it." I said, "No, it's just going to piss me off," and it did, because I looked at it. But that's what we're going to look at, and then do you want to talk about the other event now, or you want to wait and talk about that at the end of the show?
Oh, well, we can talk about that towards the end of the show. I think Stu
Okay.
and I went up and did a competition, and well, shit, we might as well talk about it now.
See?
I mean, it's not like we're trying to hold it till the end. But we went up to Manatee Gun and Rifle Range, and there's a really cool course up there, and I wish other ranges would do this, because it is a great way for people to have fun, but learn how to shoot a pistol or a carbine with some real world scenarios and a level of difficulty, instead of just going to a flat range and shooting. And the way I describe it, it's kind of set up like a gigantic USPSA or IDPA stage.
Yeah.
Okay. But speed isn't involved. There's a lot of long shots. There's some shots there that are approaching 40 yards. And you have to shoot through you have to shoot in between holes cut out in barriers and all different things along. And it's just a cool, fun course. And if somebody is starting to learn how to handle a pistol or a carbine, and they want to get out there and challenge themselves a little bit, it's a great course to do that. Well, every year, and there's two people that put it on.
Twice a year they do it, Matt. Spring and fall.
Yeah, spring and fall. And the couple that puts it on are George and Sydney Fish, and they are George is former Army, and Sydney is what they both have. They're natives of New Jersey, and
we don't hold it against them, though.
They're great people, and what they're
Absolutely.
doing here is excellent. There's a lot of thought put into this course, and they have a group of volunteers with them that are excellent. Ricky and who are the other guys that are?
Tony and Luis were the volunteer RSOs when we were there Friday.
Mm-hmm. So they've got a whole group of really, really cool people that are into guns, are very, very qualified and capable of, and a lot of them are veterans, and some of them aren't. Everybody there is very, very capable and excellent at helping people that need help hone their skills. So they do a big competition twice a year, and Stu and I went up and did that. It gets pretty competitive, especially between Stu and myself. So it gets competitive between everybody, but Stu and I sort of push each other a little bit. So
yeah, and like Matt was saying, this course, my best explanation for it is it's that intermediate step between static shooting targets on the line and full on USPSA or IDPA, where you're sprinting from target to target and just blasting rounds down range, because the way George set it up was really geared towards a concealed carry holder, and it's hitting your shot, it's hitting where you're aiming, and they're very, very strict on the scoring with things, and it's really, I think, to drive that point home that you're responsible for that round when you discharge it, from the moment it leaves the firearm until it stops motion. You're responsible, and I think that's really what he uses this course to drive that point home. And
there's some super precise shots that you have to make up there. It's super precise, and it kind of, I shoot USPSA. I try to shoot once a week, and that's all speed with some precision. This is, you got to kind of slow yourself down, which is good, because it's a different kind of training, and it makes you slow yourself and really get specific and follow those fundamentals, right? Like Stu just said, they have three categories. There's a pistol category, there is a carbine category, and then there is a carbine to pistol category. And it definitely challenges you. And the thing that kills both Stu and I are little mistakes, small mistakes that are easy. Good to see you. Salute. Good to see you, James S. Saying salute. And it makes it it's just a real fun way to go and really focus on those fundamentals. And it's a great, if anybody is in the Sarasota area or Okeechobee area, the Manatee Gun and Archery Club is an excellent facility. They have a 600-yard range, and I think they're moving it out to 1,000. They've got a large flat line. They have a bench rest rifle range that's always busy. They do 3-gun up there. They've got a bunch of individual. It's a huge facility. And then they have what George and Sid have set up, and pretty much that's right where Stu and I go. I bring my dad up there. He loves it. If people have a little bit of mobility issues, I know my dad just had surgery and had his ankle fused. They drove him from stage to stage, or
in the golf cart.
In the golf cart. Yeah. So it's excellent. So it's one of those things that, like I said, it's a great way to go and change, and it's not expensive. It's not expensive at all. Yeah. What do you get? 2 tokens for like $9 or something like that?
Right. The way they have the course set up is they have their pistol course, and they have with the first flight that they call it. You shoot the course. You start out going to the right, which means you're shooting through barriers on the right side of the course, shooting back to the left, through walls, around obstacles, that sort of thing. Well, the second flight, you start at the same point, but then you move left. So your angles are different, your targets are different. A target you were shooting on square in the first flight, you might be shooting off at an angle, so your impact area is going to be much smaller. You might have to move around your barrier and stuff. So yeah, for 2 tokens, I think it's $9, which gets you through both flights. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good value for what it is, and with the price of ammo, it slows you down. And
it absolutely does. That's the thing. Right, what your point right there, Stu, is what people don't think about. It, we always talk about wasting ammo, okay? Because we have a finite level of concentration or period of time that we can concentrate. And when we get past that training, sometimes it's difficulty when you got that box of ammo there to say, hey, I'm not doing anything right now except throwing rounds down range because my concentration's dropped off. You're not shooting tons of it. You're shooting enough. You're shooting, what is it, about 40 rounds a flight roughly?
Yeah, it's about 40 rounds, 30. Yeah, because it's 2 magazines. I don't think we ever shot more than 2 magazines. So yeah, 40-ish rounds.
Yeah,
that's right. Their max they can have is 50 rounds. Because with the transition, they had to dial it back so they can only have so it's a maximum of 50 rounds. And I don't think we ever did more than 40 with pistol alone.
But it does make you think, because you're usually putting 2 rounds on most of the large targets when you're shooting just the carbine or just the pistol. And when you do the pistol to transition, some of those targets are only 1 shot on each, right? And I made a mistake that bit me in the ass because I was shooting 2 rounds at a couple targets on one of my flights, my first flight, and didn't have enough ammo to finish because they count the ammo out for you. Okay, so when you're competing, right? If you're practicing, no big deal, but when you're competing, they count it out, and it keeps you thinking. Okay, which is another thing in a self-defense situation. You need to be thinking. You always need to be in control of what's going on by using your brain. Okay, so this kind of forces you to do that. But anyways, it was 3 classes. Stu and I are pretty damn competitive. We ended up the Green Beret Life ended up sweeping all 3 classes between Stu and myself. Stu won the pistol and the carbine, and I won the pistol 2 carbine. And like I said, Stu and I put a lot of pressure on each other, and we were within 9 points on every single one. Isn't that odd? All three we were within 9 points of one another, which is less than a target. So, and this is why little mistakes are just huge. I mean, just absolutely huge, and it bites your ass sometimes. So, I think that's one thing Stu and I both need to work on, is don't make the little mistakes. And what were your views on the whole thing, Stu?
It was great. You know, like you said, it's the little things that bite you in the ass. And like you said, they count they count out your ammunition. And for the carbine, it's a pistol caliber carbine. So we were running, and because your ammo is counted out, if you have a malfunction, you can't just rack your charging handle and get right back into it, or you're going to be a round short come the end.
Correct.
So in the portion, there was one that got me in the course of fire. You're having to walk and shoot targets at the same time, but you have to engage them in a certain order, or you'll have already walked too far and the target will be behind a barrier and you won't be able to make the shot. Well, I had a malfunction in the middle of the walking portion. And I'd already shot one target, transitioned and shot another, and was swinging back, and I had the malfunction. So I cleared my gun. I got the round that I ejected, put it back in, got my gun back up and running.
Stu, were you saying you didn't know which way you were swinging, so you were transitioning? Is that what you were just saying?
I don't. Well, normally I don't swing, but it does hang to the left.
Okay.
But, yeah. So I come back up, and I forgot which target I was on. I just completely blanked, and the target I was transitioning to already had 2 hits on it, and I thought, crap, I've already shot that target, but I'd shot it from a previous station. And instead of sitting there and wasting time and potential ammunition, I said, I've lost my spot, next station, and we just, moved on. And you have to, once that shot's fired, you forget it and keep moving, because otherwise you'll get in your head and be your own worst enemy out there.
Yeah. And that you've got to really pay attention to keep track. The scores get high, like it's roughly 400 points for both flights, right? Somewhere around there.
Yeah. 388 or something, I think, for.
Yeah. Some are over in some of the carbine stuff goes over into the force, right? So it's mid force.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of points.
For pistol, it was 380 points between both. For carbine, it was 446, and for transition, it was 542 points.
Okay, so there we go. So, like I said, we push each other, and just little mistake, we'll take it one way or another. And it's amazing. All 3 categories, we were within 9 points of one another on all 3.
Yeah.
So
it was funny because my first round of rifle was, if you guys can imagine the dumpster outside of a used diaper factory set on fire, that was my first carbine run. It was hot freaking garbage. And I was so pissed with myself, I was not even going to shoot the second flight. And Matt was like, no, man, we still have the transition. It'll get you some reps in on the rifle portion of that, so go ahead and shoot it. So I shot the second flight, and I was 7 points away from a perfect run on it.
Yeah,
that was the only thing that saved that. It was
it was a phenomenal run.
He couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I actually was. I had 2 decent, and he had 1 dumpster fire and a smoker. And squeaked by. And it was the same thing with the pistol. The pistol, I hit a tiny piece of wood. Even though I hit my target, I just scraped the edge off the barrier, and 10 points. And Stu won that by 9. So, I mean, it's just, one can go either way. So we were getting pissed at each other, and we were getting pissed at ourselves. And so it's all in good fun. But no, it's a great, if you guys are in that area, if you come down, go over there. You don't have to be a member. It's affordable. It's fun. It's great. And I wish more ranges did this, to be quite honest with you. So go and see George and Sydney, and Manatee Gun and Archery Club. It's in Mayorkas, Mayorkas, Florida, right? Or is
Yeah,
there another?
it's one of those
It,
old Indian names,
it,
Mayaka, something to that effect.
Yeah, it's right outside of Sarasota. It's east of Sarasota,
Yeah.
Sarasota, Bradenton, that area. So not super far from 75 at all. So it's easy to get to.
Yeah, and again, it's well worth it. If it's an hour, 2 hour drive to get there, it's well worth it for the day. I mean, even if you're just sitting there, excuse me, just shooting the breeze with other shooters that are there. I mean, there's people from all over, all different walks. Everybody's super friendly. The RSOs and George and Sydney, super professional, super friendly, and just a lot of the RSOs are volunteers. They're out there doing it because they love helping people, and it's a great teaching environment. George and Sydney and Ricky, all the RSOs, Tony and Luis, they're all they're there to help you out if you're having issues. They can offer you a little some advice, a little bit of coaching. They've got that's what they're there for. They want to help people become better shooters, and that's why they designed this course the way that they did. They can slow things down. It gets you off of the flat-footed, static 15-yard range. It introduces some variables. It gives you some things to think about, and they can help make you a better shooter.
Yeah. So that being said, let's move over to Odysee and Rumble and get into it.
Get into it. Okay. Everybody on YouTube, down in the link or in the description below, there should be the link over to Rumble. Come on over there. We can discuss things a little more freely, and we will see you guys there.